Hey guys, today I'm going to review the Bluedio R Plus, which is quite a bass heavy and quite even treble dominant affordable headphone with Bluetooth function and even as a headset. So if you want something like this, go watch the video, but if you're looking for something natural and accurate sounding, this might not be it. So let's damn it. Okay, let's open the box, check what's in it and talk some specs. Here is the carrying pouch, quite nice material. Here we have the foldable headphones, quite nice design. Then we have a 3.5 millimeter cable, about 4 or 5 feet, and the micro USB cable. That's pretty much it. So let's get rid of that. As for a few specs about the headphone, it weighs 260 grams. Is Bluetooth 4.0. A full charge according to the manual takes about 3 to 5 hours, and in my case it was 2.5. I'm not really sure, maybe my charger was faster or something like that, I'm not sure. It says playback of 25 hours and 50 days of standby, but for me personally it felt way less, like maybe 8 hours, maybe 9. Not really sure why, maybe because they use a different test and I had it almost pretty much at 80% volume, but so that's for that. First let's take a closer look. Here we have the controls, so on and off button with the LED which will flash. It is a bit too bright in my experience, but it's okay. Track forward, backward, volume up and down. Here we have the micro USB port with the microphone since it's also a headset. Here we have the micro SD card slot, so you can use this as an MP3 player. On this side we have the headphone jack if you want to use them without the Bluetooth function. If you look at it itself, we have glossy plastic, so it will attract a lot of fingerprints, but otherwise it looks quite nice and stylish, I would say. Maybe similar to Beats, I am not really sure since I am not the biggest Beat fan. The material and for the money, the build quality is quite nice. They do squeak a little bit, but I think for the money and since it's plastic after all, it's quite nice. The ear pads here are not that flexible. As you can see, this is about all you get. But therefore, once you put them on, they sit in one position, and in this position they sit well. About the ear pads itself, the cushions here are quite soft, but for my personal taste, the resistance here is a bit too much. Because you will notice this when I'm talking now about the comfort and fit, because once you put them on, I think they press a bit too much against, and they also, since they fit so nicely over the ear, they build up quite some heat and you will sweat a bit down there, and it could cause even some bit of headache. Otherwise, the cushions in terms of size are very good. They fit very well over the ear, but one problem I have here also with this headphone is the strap here, because the pressure is a bit too high for my experience. And it caused for me a bit hurting over the ears and even on the jaw, because the pressure down there was just a bit too high. So I wouldn't really recommend it for longer listening sessions, since they weren't quite so comfortable as they are for the first few minutes, because the first few minutes they sit really well and everything here is very soft and nice, but for longer listening sessions they were a bit too fatiguing for me. Let's talk about the sound now, which is still the most important thing here. There is a difference here if you use them with the cable or with Bluetooth, especially in volume. You get with Bluetooth at least 30% more volume. And there's also quite a noticeable difference using them with cable or Bluetooth in terms of sound. Because using them with a cable, they sound more natural and they definitely have a lot less bass. I wouldn't still call them natural or accurate sounding, but still the difference is big. But I prefer the one over Bluetooth because the bass was just way better. Also, there is some quite noticeable background hiss if you lose them on a laptop, but I think that's pretty much standard, and I had this with all the other ones as well. So like I said, the sound itself is not the most accurate one, but still detailed enough, and for the purpose it has, still quite good. The bass here, we have a very bassy, nice, deep and tight, punchy bass. It is also quite precise, and this was really nice to see. And the good thing here is it was a very bouncy, jumpy bass, because if you listen loud and you have a lot of bass, they will jump on your ear. This was quite nice to see. The trebles, the highs are very dominant. You will hear them out a lot. But the thing here is this also is caused due to the slightly weaker mids. I have a bit of a problem because the mids were on the weaker side, and just because of the over-dominant bass, a bit too much in the background. And this was noticeable mostly on voices. If you listen to rock or metal and anything like that, where we have usually dominant voices, they get a bit too much in the background in my experience and sound too distant. This was something I didn't like so much. But in overall, the sound is slightly colder, but very brilliant, but not so rich in sound, I would say. Also, the sound isn't very suited for really long listening sessions due to the maybe too harsh treble sometimes, but it shouldn't be a problem. Using an equalizer, you can get the sound a bit better, but you won't get away with this distant and far voices. This was just something I wasn't so fond of. The other thing is, they are suited for a quite great variety of music, but I would definitely say they are more suited towards hip-hop, rap, and electro, everything with a lot of bass, and not so much things you would need details, because then everything gets a bit mushy, especially if you're using rock or metal or something like that. For voices, it's okay, but I wouldn't definitely call this for any content creator or something like that, because you have just too much bass in it for everything. Okay, let's do a quick recap. For the price, overall the quality is very nice. We have a very nice and stylish design. It is comfortable at first, but due to the pressure and the heat building up, not so much good for longer listening sessions. The sound is quite lively and good for fun and slightly more accurate sound. Not accurate enough for content creators or listening to podcasts, because there the bass is just overwhelming. Very good all-rounder headphones after all, and the battery life was also quite good. So would I recommend them? Yes, if you want a nice bassy and vivid, fun to listen sound, but not so much for people who want a natural and accurate sound with not so much bass. And then there's also the thing with the heat and the pressure. And that's why I wouldn't buy them, because on the long term they weren't just comfortable enough. And my biggest issue after with the sound were the quite too distant voices, which just took off a lot of the fun in the listening experience if you are listening to rock and something like this. So this was my review of the Bluedio R Plus. I hope you liked it and give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and if there's anything else you want to tell me, please leave me a comment down below. So until next time, I'll be back.